My nasty sister-in-law used scissors to destroy my wedding outfit. My mind was blown. My husband was favoritism toward his sister and did nothing when I informed him that I had surreptitiously videotaped her. Angry feelings welled up inside of me as I screened the footage at the wedding reception. She smacked me across the face in her wrath. I chose to get even by excluding her from the event, which would have been a shocking surprise for her. Hi, I'm Jasmine, and I'd want to tell you about my story. It's a story of love, betrayal, and at the end, empowerment. My story starts in Dallas, Texas, where I was a 30-year-old office administrator going about my day as usual and looking for love. I had no idea that going to the gym would have such a profound impact on my life. I entered Liam's gym for the first time on a sunny morning. Nervousness washed over me. Being the unathletic sort, I found it scary to see all these toned bodies exercising out. However, I was hell-bent on becoming in shape and improving my self-esteem. I had no idea that the gym owner, Liam, who would later become my soulmate, would be introduced to me here. Liam possessed a captivating personality, was unwavering in his commitment to fitness, and was 32 years old. He possessed a smile that could illuminate any room, along with dark hair and deep brown eyes. I was so nervous and uncomfortable on my first day that I fumbled through the workout. When Liam saw me, he took attention. With a friendly and encouraging tone, he remarked, "Hey, is this your first time?" In an effort to regain my composure, I bowed. "Yeah, I'm just trying to get into it." His offer to teach me the ropes, "Well, I can show you some basics if you'd like," took a weight off my shoulders. Liam and I at the gym every single day for the following 12 months. As my personal trainer, he helped me with my exercises, gave me advice, and was always there to encourage me. I began to develop larger affections for him as I matured. In addition to being quite approachable, he was also really encouraging and kind. Liam once glanced at me with a mischievous glint in his eye as we wrapped up a particularly challenging session. "It's amazing how far you've gone, Jasmine. Wow, you've excelled." My gratitude, Liam. Surrounded by an overwhelming sense of gratitude, I said, "Your assistance was vital in my success." Everything changed when we shared a long look that day. Following that, I learned about his life while we went for coffee. In his speech, Liam expressed his love for exercise and his ambition to one day open a larger gym. I filled him in on my work, my aspirations, and my hardships. We were as familiar as old friends. We started dating as our friendship developed into something more serious. Beyond his role as my trainer, Liam had evolved into that of a trusted companion and confidant. We had fun, ate together, and explored the city on weekends. I had never felt such pure joy before. It was really wonderful. But then there was Safia, Liam's younger sister, and that clouded our bond. Even though she was stunning and captivating, her 28-year-old self was demanding and domineering. Safia was the shining star of the family, and I soon found out that she had a strong opinion about Liam's future wife. I was not the affluent woman she thought he should marry in order to boost his social standing, according to her. We could feel the tension in the air. Unexpectedly, and always at the most inconvenient times, Safia would stop by to point out my flaws. It unnerved me that I could feel her disdain. The doorbell rang one night while Liam and I were having a peaceful meal at my flat. "Jasmine, can you get that?" As Liam glanced up from his plate, he inquired. "Sure," I responded, my gut churning with unease. I walked in to see Safia standing there, arms crossed, with a critical look on her face. "Hello, Liam." Her syrupy smile belied her sincere concern that she might be disturbing someone. Liam looked at me with remorse as he groaned. "Safia, maybe you could give us some time." "Please don't be so rude." She stepped inside without permission, but revealed her true intentions. She had come to check on her brother. Her arrival on the couch made my heart race. Feeling her intense scrutiny made it difficult to fully appreciate our evening together. She proceeded to tell Liam all about her charity event plans, while also continually telling him who he should be hanging out with. It might be wise for you to think about expanding your network of prominent contacts, Liam. You need to be in those circles now that you're running a gym, Sophia stated with an air of authority. Her remarks cut deep and I struggled to maintain my composure. In response, Liam said, I believe in building genuine connections, Sophia, his voice showing signs of being irritated. Jasmine and I are happy, and that's what matters. Then Sophia rolled her eyes and huffed. Sure, but you could do better. The weight and awkwardness of her remarks lingered throughout the room. On the other hand, Liam appeared just as irritated as I was when I glanced in his direction. The harm was already done when Sophia finally left after a few more minutes of back and forth. I'm sorry you had to deal with that, Liam replied, encircling me in an embrace. I'll talk to her. No, Liam, I beg you not to, I blurted out. Adding stress is not something I'm looking to do. We need to be the center of attention. However, I sensed a growing disquiet in my gut. I yearned for acceptance from Liam's family, but with Sophia in the picture, it appeared out of the question. My worries about Sophia's conduct trumped any enthusiasm I could have felt in the days leading up to our wedding. Liam promised me, I assure you, I will take care of Sophia. Keep her at arm's length. Even though I wanted to put my faith in him, a persistent fear persisted. On our special day, would she plot to ruin it? The drama was just getting started, and I had no idea that my worst nightmares were going to come true. Finally, my wedding day arrived, and I was absolutely over the moon. From the flowers to the cake, I had meticulously planned every detail for months, dreaming about the moment I would approach Liam as I walked down the aisle. Nothing could ever replace the love we shared. He was waiting for me. Staying focused on the joy that was waiting for us was my utmost priority. The event was held in a picturesque Dallas chapel adorned with delicate white flowers and glistening fairy lights. As I put on my wedding dress, a stunning gown that accentuated my figure and made me feel like a princess, my heart raced with anticipation. With her delight radiating from her eyes, my dearest friend Julia stood by my side. Jasmine, you look absolutely stunning, she gushed as she adjusted my veil. Liam is going to be blown away. I admire you. With a hint of worry in my voice, I expressed my hope that Sophia would behave. Julia scowled a little. Put her out of your mind. You and Liam should meet today, please. The gentle melody of the organ welcomed me into the chapel, and I paused to take it all in. My anxieties started to subside as I beheld Liam standing at the altar. Wearing a sharp suit, he had an irresistible charm, and the love in his eyes sparkled. As soon as our gazes met, everything else seemed to fade into the background. The wedding was a lovely occasion, full of joy, sincere promises, and tears of joy. Sophia sat with her arms crossed over her chest and a scowl on her face as I peered to the pews. Nothing could spoil our special day, so I forced myself to ignore my anxiety. A beautiful banquet hall, decorated with flowers and twinkling lights, was our destination for the reception following the ceremony. There was a joyful vibe as guests mixed and laughed. I felt like the luckiest woman alive as Liam and I danced, completely absorbed in each other's arms. Suddenly, the tide turned. Just as I was about to go to have a little conversation with some friends, I noticed Sophia standing by the bridal suite. I felt my heart sink as I saw that she was in there, clutching something. I crept stealthily up to the door and peered inside since my curiosity was getting the best of me. She was snipping at my bridal dress, which was draped nearby, and it horrified me. Oh no, tell me what you're up to. As I entered the room, my pulse was pounding, and I let out a gasp. With the sound of the scissors clanking against the floor, Sophia's eyes widened in surprise. She stumbled forward. Jasmine, I was just fixing it. As her innocent grin belied her true feelings. Replacing it? Oh my goodness, you're making it stink. I grabbed my phone to capture the scene as I yelled. It was imperative that I record this betrayal. Do not interfere with my affairs, Jasmine. You don't belong here, she said with an air of contemptuous indignation. My emotions were a whirlwind of shock and wrath. I don't think you're kidding. You are attempting to derail my wedding day. How vile are you? My heart was pounding with adrenaline as I bolted out of the suite before she could answer. I drew Liam aside from his conversation with visitors when I located him. Liam, you have no idea what Sophia did just now, I exclaimed, my breath catching in my throat. It was clear that he was worried, so he inquired, "What happened?" I yelled out, "She was cutting my wedding dress," as I showed him the screen capture. As he stared at the footage, his face turned from bewilderment to rage. "This is unbelievable. She's someone I intend to speak to." "No, please, don't. I'm persuaded. Nothing should be escalated, in my opinion. The wedding is our only concern." But the fervor in Liam's gaze told me this wasn't going away. Despite my best efforts, the impact of Sophia's actions continued to weigh on me as we resumed the celebrations. As the night progressed, we joined our loved ones in dancing, laughing, and celebrating. I made an effort to ignore my concerns, but I had a sneaking suspicion that this wasn't going to be Sophia's final communication with me. Actually, I was beginning to suspect that there was more to her behavior than just jealousy. I felt my heart sink as the reception went on in full force. I had an uneasy feeling that Sophia would somehow find a way to destroy our evening as we neared the final dance. Being prepared was something I was hell-bent on doing. No longer would I allow her to dictate how happy I am. Unbeknownst to me, the night was far from done, and an unexpected and surprising surprise was waiting for me around the bend. The wedding reception was a raucous affair, with music and laughing filling the air. With the final dance almost here, I made an effort to forget about Sophia's previous behavior. For a brief moment, as Liam spun me around the dance floor while holding me tight, I thought nothing could ever spoil our joy. However, I had an underlying suspicion that something wasn't right. We finished our last dance, and I looked around for Sophia. I felt a knot of apprehension build in my gut since I hadn't seen her since our disagreement in the bridal room. What if her plans were different? At that very moment, I noticed her hunkered down in a corner, her clenched fists belying her enraged expression. "Liam, I have something important to discuss with you," I said, removing him from the throng. He inquired, "What's wrong?" with a look of genuine worry on his face. "Sophia is something that worries me. I believe she's planning something," I admitted, casting a glance in her direction to check if she was observing us. His voice betrayed his frustration as Liam sighed. "There's always something she's planning. Do your best to disregard her, Jasmine. We are celebrating." Still, I had the uneasy sensation that she would hold on to this. The festive mood started to fade as the night progressed. I was worn out from acting like everything was great, and guests were beginning to leave. It was imperative that I ascertain Sophia's intentions. From out of nowhere, Sophia stepped to the center of the stage, microphone in hand, and the entire audience became silent. "Can I have everyone's attention, please?" Her cries resounded throughout the room. My pulse was pounding. Why was she even up there? She started by saying, "Jasmine," with a pleasant but slightly sinister tone. "I think it's only fair that everyone knows the truth about you." Liam and I shared a concerned look, his voice barely above a whisper as he asked, "What on earth is she talking about?" "I have something to share that might change your minds about Jasmine. She may look like the perfect bride," Sophia said, her voice betraying her earnestness. A swell of fear engulfed me. Just what would she say? She boldly declared, "I caught her last week at the gym, trying to flirt with my boyfriend, Eden." With a theatrical gesture, she pointed to Ethan, whose expression showed a mix of shock and worry. The audience let out a series of gasps. My cheeks flushed with a mixture of wrath and shame as I felt the heat building. "That's a lie." My voice quivered as I yelled. "Neither Ethan nor I have ever flirted with one another. My wedding day is about to be ruined by you." Sophia grinned, obviously delighted by all the admiration. "Is that so? Then what is the proper term for this?" She retrieved her mobile device and began playing a video. I knew it was the video right away. I was chatting with Ethan at the gym in this video. It had been very innocent. We were just talking about our fitness goals and laughing and joking. Sophia, nevertheless, had spliced together segments of the tape to give the impression that I was flirting. Here you can hear her efforts to win him over. That seems very fishy, doesn't it? With an air of fake seriousness, Sophia made her declaration. The weight of their judgmental looks weighed on me as the audience grumbled. My chest tightened with anguish. Everything I had worked for was about to be wiped out. Ethan and I are clearly destined to be together. Everyone can see it. It was clear that Sophia was trying to manipulate Jasmine into taking him away from her. A furious mask covering Liam's face, he advanced. I can't believe this. No way would Jasmine ever do anything like that, Sophia. Her wedding. You're attempting to spoil it. Expression of annoyance replaced Sophia's smile. Oh, I'd beg you, Liam. Get up. The affection you have for your wife is causing you to miss the fact that she is a con artist. Looking at Liam, I begged him to believe me, my eyes welling up with tears. Listen, Liam, I did nothing wrong. Believe me, you must. The change in the environment made Sophia smirk. Well, have you seen? She continues to play the victim even now. Observe her for yourself. Sophia swung around to face me, slapping me across the face in her enraged state before I had a chance to react. Gasps resounded around the room as the sting rendered me breathless. All motion came to a halt for an instant. Suddenly, Liam, his voice low and furious, moved in between us, much to my astonishment. It's sufficient, Sophia. Do something about this. You should know better. Upon realizing she had exceeded a boundary, Sophia's eyes widened in disbelief. You're siding with her after everything I've done for you. Enough. The now hushed hall resounded with Liam's yell. I will not stand by and watch you disrespect my wife, Jasmine, in this way. You should go. The news was so unbelievable that I hardly believed it. Did Liam truly think he was protecting me from his sister? A combination of relief and perplexion washed over me as I sensed the electric tension in the air. In a display of both wrath and shame, Sophia's cheeks flushed a vibrant scarlet. You're going to be sorry you did this, Liam. You'll notice. Subsequently, she retreated from the reception, her departure accompanied by hushed conversations. Guests gradually picked up where they left off, but the atmosphere had changed. In the midst of a multitude that had just beheld my contempt, I experienced a sense of vulnerability. With a look of worry on his face, Liam shifted to face me. Are you okay? I believe so, I murmured, my voice quivering. In my heart, though, I knew this wasn't the end. I was prepared to regain my dignity and confront Sophia once and for all. Although I was oblivious to it at the time, I was plotting a strategy to finally defeat Sophia, and the real fight was about to start. Following the mayhem at the reception, Liam and I were still trying to make sense of what had happened. His eyes betrayed the inner turmoil he was experiencing. I can't even begin to fathom what you went through, Jasmine. I never thought Sophia would go to such extreme lengths, he continued, encircling me in a bear hug. I mumbled, It's okay, as I attempted to calm my pounding heart. However, we will not abide by her actions. She must understand that her choices have real-world repercussions. Still on edge by the day's events, we retired to our hotel room as the sun set. My voice remained firm as I said, I've been thinking, despite the internal anguish I was experiencing, I want to have a final confrontation with Sophia. She has to realize the consequences of her behavior, and I want to show her the truth. Liam didn't seem confident. I hope you won't put yourself in danger, Jasmine. She isn't always predictable. I know, I responded with conviction. This woman has no right to dictate how we live our lives. I must defend not just us, but also myself. After working up the nerve the day after, I finally approached Sophia. Since I anticipated that she would wish to talk about what transpired, I made plans to meet her at a cafe. I entered the room and saw her seated at a corner table, her face betraying a combination of fury and refusal. She called out, "Jasmine," with an air of contempt in her voice. "What do you want?" "Sophia, I was hoping to have a conversation," I started, attempting to maintain a composed tone. "You did something completely awful at the wedding. If you spread false information about me, there will be repercussions." She did not seem fazed as she rolled her eyes. "Oh, I'm sorry. Think you can show up here and give me a lecture? Your attempt to marry my brother is nothing more than a joke." My cheeks flushed with heat, but I kept going. "You know, I have something that might change your mind about me." Crossing her arms, she retorted, "What are you talking about?" Violently, I retrieved my phone and began playing the video I had shot of her snipping the veil from my wedding gown. She was taken aback by the sound of her own voice as it echoed through the diner. She stammered, "This isn't what you think," but her face betrayed her growing anxiety as the other customers took note of the chaos. "Is that so?" In response, my pulse raced as I anxiously watched her crumble under the weight of what seemed like an attempt to ruin my wedding. Now whispers were filling the cave. A flush spread across Safia's cheeks, and she leaped from her seat in shock. She yelled out, her voice quivering with anger, You can't do this." I responded, "I just did," as a wave of confidence swept over me. "It's time for everyone to see the truth about you." Her mask came off as others started approaching Safia, wanting answers. "I warn you, Jasmine, you will come to deeply regret this. You will be ruined by me." Leaving a wake of surprised expressions in her wake, she screamed and rushed out of the cave. An immense feeling of relief washed over me at that very instant. She had been an oppressive sister the whole time, but now I had stood up to her and exposed her. I felt a weight come off my shoulders, and I could see that Liam and I could now go ahead without her presence casting a shadow. Liam was waiting for me at home, looking concerned when I got back. While looking into my eyes, he inquired, "Did it go well?" Feeling lighter than I had in weeks, I couldn't help but smile. Everything worked much better than I had anticipated. At long last, Safia's genuine nature has been exposed. A look of relief spread across his face. "Jasmine, I am very pleased with you. You did an excellent job with it." The more time passed, the more liberated I felt. Sophia tried to get in touch, but I was too busy focusing on my life with Liam to answer her calls. We decided to start again in a new apartment, far from the drama. Ultimately, I realized that the most empowering thing I could do was to stand up for myself. With Liam's support, I was able to regain my self-esteem and happiness, and we were prepared to take on any obstacles that came our way. I knew we were stronger as a couple because our love had weathered the storm. Even though Safia intended to drive a wedge between Liam and me, she ended up drawing us closer together, and for that I am eternally thankful. So as I say goodbye to this chapter of my life, I think back on the lessons I've learned about love, devotion, and the power to resist treachery. Despite the challenges I faced, I am now stronger and more